Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We'll get back to the JRC here in just a moment, but first the disclaimers and the trigger warnings. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shops campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, pertinent links are going to be there in the description box for you. We have the Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject. That is where we literally get the bulk of our material when we speak about the JRC on this channel. We got the article linked in there from Neuroclastic. They interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. It was good enough to catch the JRC's attention, and they did go ahead and threaten Neuroclastic with a defamation lawsuit. They didn't remove it from their website. Of course, Neuroclastic didn't. So folks, please read the article and share it on all your social media. We do have Neuroclastic's GoFundMe linked in there as well, because unlike the JRC, us poor advocates do not have access to unlimited funds. Just in case they ever do see through with their threat, if you can't, please share it. I know they would really appreciate it. Trigger warnings: when we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or a cop-out boarding school for boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you do got young children present, please make sure to use the headphones. Also, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity and speak on dark subjects. If your child 16 and younger and watching this, parental supervision is very much advised, alright? Okay, so where we left off, where I went on another tangent because they have another person that should have been moved to adult services at least a decade ago. That's right, we're going back to JW. And we went over, as they usually do, where they list all of the behaviors. It almost feels like they do it like it's a grocery list. It is the most, unhuman way of describing a human being that I have come across with. I mean, seriously. I bring it back to it, although we are going to move on, because all the things that they list here, I've done when I was a kid. Many of us did. Right? You see, that's one of the things that is, one of the multiple things that is just so insane to me. Because the JRC will list all these behaviors and insist that if they are not put on human shock collars, that it's only going to continue to get worse until they drug them into catatonia. Well, I'm sorry, JRC, but that is a lie. I know it's a lie, because I lived it. Multiple neurodivergents have lived it. I did those things. My friend Renee, that used to live in assisted living, the Crowhaven apartments over there on the opposite side of mine, did those things. Many of my friends did. Okay? Now, this may not be a good question to ask, but do I seem out of control to you all? Do you genuinely fear that some point on camera you're just gonna see me sock myself in the jaw so hard that my jaw shatters? No, I don't think any of you all do. Okay? The reason why I bring this up is because with their insistence that these kids are so severe that nothing else but inflicting knowingly physical pain on them is the only thing that's gonna make it better. That is horseshit. It makes it worse. It makes us mask. Masking is not progress. Masking is acting. And it does not lead to any real fundamental life changes once we no longer have the threat of violence hanging over our necks like the sword of Damocles. Okay? Billions of autistics all over the world. And before you start JRC, yes, that had severe behavioral issues. If anybody thinks it's normal that a 60-pound me at elementary school was able to pull up a desk made out of solid walnut and solid steel, pick it up, and then throw it halfway across the room into a concrete wall, and then tell me that is normal behavior, I may need the phone number to your drug dealer. Okay? Like a shot put. Could still vividly remember it. Yeah. Not quote-unquote normal, is it? And yes, there are records. I get asked about it every great once in a while because my past behaviors follow me. It is forever attached to me and will be brought up for the rest of my life in doctor's appointments until I'm finally senile. The point that I am making is, it is possible to treat some very scary behavioral issues without inflicting physical pain on the person having said behavioral issues. We can be treated without inflicting violence on us, starving us, depriving us of sleep, and jumping at us randomly. I did all of those things. I have been on my own bar a year and a half since I was 19 years old. Okay? Not exactly the quote-unquote parasites, like RFK, the self-hating bastard Elon like to say, is it? I mean, I knifed a freaking Ottoman, people. Come on. Come on. If there's millions of people like me that have had our own scary behavioral issues, but we were able to be treated in a way that did not require our treatment team to inflict intentionally pain on us. And we can go through our treatment programs and be out there and be able to go live our lives either independently or interdependently, depending on what you need. That should tell you that what the JRC is selling is a lie. It's a lie. In the caseloads that they would bring to me at my state job, do you know how many people had the same exact behaviors labeled inside their files. I'm not going to violate HIPAA here, but it was damn near every single one of them. Now let's take into fact here that there are millions of autistics all over the world. If you go onto websites where we all tend to meet, like wrongplanet.net, you have people from all over the world describing the exact same behaviors. Those who are willing to talk about their treatment programs as a means to educate and to advocate for better treatment for the rest of us will tell you they have behaviors just like this. Their treatment programs, after the full functioning behavioral assessment being conducted, if you want your kid to be successful in a proper program that will address their very specific needs, if you do not get that done, you are up shit creek without a paddle, and I'm pretty sure nothing will work because you don't even know what it is you're trying to help treat. That's its own subject. Obviously, I feel very strongly about that. All of us, at least to some extent, have exhibited very similar behaviors to what they are describing here. I never, at any point in time within my treatment program, have ever had anything where they felt that if I was in a meltdown or not doing something neurotypical enough, that the best thing to do would be inflict physical pain on me in that moment. It's probably a good thing too, because that would be the sort of thing, with my background in past, the PTSD that would have got some people skull stomped into concrete. It's probably a very good thing. I'm a lot better these days, but back then, that would have been bad, very bad. We have millions of us all over the world with our different treatment programs that we came to with an informed decision because we did have the full functional behavioral assessments done before any decisions were being made in regards to treatment programs or treatment plans or medication. We were able to go through those programs and meet our milestones successfully within those programs. No need for the threat of violence to be hung over us in order to be able to do so. The JRC can sit here and scream all day that you were not severe as these kids. Well, Karen, thankfully, I have old VHS footage of one particular incident, the only one that's ever been caught on camera with me, slamming my head repeatedly into our walnut coffee table. We're talking about 94 to 95. So yeah, I did. I was still able to meet my milestones because the steps were taken in appropriate order. We were able to make an informed and educated decision when deciding on a particular style of a treatment program and plan, because everybody in that circle of support included doctors as well as the caseworker, the case managers, direct care staff, and CIs, where everybody was on the same page. And would you look at that? no need to inflict, willfully and knowingly, physical pain needed. If you want to look up at the data, it backs it up too. Because, yeah, the things that they describe, all of us have experienced to at least a certain extent. They were still able to go through the other programs that exist out there and be successful hitting their milestones. Yes, with behaviors as horrific as those displayed by the students at the JRC who were on the GED device. But you don't have to take my word for it. YouTube and Google is free. We have data going back almost as old as I am. At least 35 years these days, depending on the type of program. Alright. Now, look at this. JW has banged his head on walls with enough force to create holes in them, and hit himself in the face hard enough to cause multiple nosebleeds and lacerations. Bro, I put holes through walls, through heavy wood doors, dents in the floorboards when I was younger. You're not shocking me with anything that they're listing here to try and demonize this guy. Because I'm just reading for it, and it's like, yep, 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 yep. Did have nosebleeds. Not so much the lacerations, because when I tend to hit myself in the face, it's more in this general area, or the top of the head, or like in the rib area, or in the back for when the body slams, when I do the body slams to myself. Okay? Nothing I'm reading here is shocking me. Nothing I'm reading here is anything that couldn't also be dealt with properly through the other existing treatment programs out there without inflicting intentional pain on them. Shock is not working here, JRC. Especially not with those of us who have lived experience as well as worked in the field. Shock tactics. Not doing so well, are they? We're actually going ahead and finishing this particular paragraph because it's all of a similar vein. JW has also attacked caregivers and peers by kicking, hitting, headbutting, and biting them. We are going to list all the actions while once again providing zero context in regards to what was going on at the time these incidents were occurring. I am a person who can notice details and also notice when details are missing. What I mean specifically by that is any report I would receive, somewhat similar to this, had to be in detail. No one could get away with just simply labeling all the actions. The paperwork that we would require was when these incidents were occurring, what is the context? What was going on at the time? Where were they? What people were around? Was there any kind of social interaction that went squirrely? Was it outside and it was some kind of sensory issues? Were the kids actually making fun of them and tormenting them first before they began the kicking, hitting, headbutting, and biting them? Remember, we've been told that some of the other students at the JRC would bully those who were on the GED devices. I also know from personal experience that our neurodivergent asses, from the moment we take a single step inside kindergarten, are bullied mercilessly all the way to high school graduation. Kid, I know this. I've been through it. And you can bet your sweet ass, had my mom not gone in there after the incident of throwing my desk like it was a shot put and I was in the Olympics, that teasing would have continued. See, a lot of times we get bullied. Our bullies never get in any trouble. But it's the moment we snap back or fight back. And then it's our fault, you see. We are out of control. We're having behaviors. This is why context is king. That's why when these reports would come in, if I had to go out with the group that I have fondly labeled as when things go wrong, those reports had to be detailed. Who was there? Who were all the witnesses? What room was it in? Were they sitting? Were they standing? We require a whole lot of details that are surrounding when the incident is taking place so that we can get a better understanding of the situation, especially if the action occurred due to a triggering event, such as bullying. So again, I did all those things, not towards caregivers, but that was because my mom put the fear of God in me young, and I preferred to be able to breathe. Not even kidding. Nobody crosses Mama. I 1,000 times would have rather dealt with Dad or my stepdad than... Mom could be scary. She never went over the top, folks. Just, don't upset Mom. Or if one of you do, one of us had to tell everybody else so we could go hide. On several occasions, JW's family had to lock themselves in their bathroom to avoid JW's physical attacks on them. And here we go blaming again. But Tiffany, are you not shocked? That's horrific. If the GED stops them from doing that, isn't that still good? How many times does a person like me have to tell people like this no before they get it through their thick skull? It doesn't matter. And yes, I could say this. Because not only am I neurodivergent, the person who abused me horrifically, my stepbrother, was also neurodivergent. I've had the experience of hiding and locking the bathroom door and staying there all day until my mom got home, having only stealing maybe 2 to 3 slices of Kraft cheese for sandwiches to get me by until somebody got home, and then I could unlock the door. Yes, I know what those experiences are like. I know intimately what they like and how dangerous they are. I went through it for years. Years. That does not justify the barbaric treatment program that the JRC uses. It's still no justification. It's still the most horrific, barbaric, and monstrous form of pseudoscience bullshit and grifting money grabs that I've ever seen. Ever seen. Okay? It doesn't change the situation any. Okay? You are doctors. You take an oath not to cause harm. You devise a device specifically to cause us physical pain, regardless of whatever the situation may be. It is still monstrous. These are still kids. And they deserve proper experts that will help them get to the root of what's triggering these behaviors so that they can be properly treated from the root out. Not to be mercilessly abused, tortured, and starved to death. Okay? I've been on the receiving end, as well as having my own behavioral issues. It's still not any justification for what the JRC does. It's still not treatment. And it still is not getting to the root cause of these issues, which means when you remove the threat of the GED device, not only are these behaviors going to come back, but they're going to be even more aggressive and destructive, because the type of anger that builds inside of you, especially when you have to suppress it. When you're going through a situation like this, that damn busts. I think you can see what I'm saying there. There's a right and wrong way to do things. Period. I don't care what the behaviors are. I don't care how you want to tar and feather a kid. A kid to cover your own ass. This isn't medicine. It's not medicine. There are ways things are to be done. If you are not doing them, you're only going to end up overall making it worse. And folks, I'm going to go ahead and close out on that one. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I appreciate your time, and as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you again here in a few minutes. Bye, everyone.